Yo, 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 what's up? Welcome to This Is Not a Podcast. We going live today, and we got a special guest here today, and we got the exclusive, baby. We finna get the exclusive interview. You can't get this nowhere else in America, but right here at This Is Not a Podcast. You know what I'm talking about? I got my special guest today, the one and only superstar wide receiver, 5-star All-American, all-world, known in the world, out the world, out of space, into space, Johntay Cook Jr. That's what we got. We finna walk down through there. Hey, this is not a podcast. This ain't your regular show. This ain't your regular podcast. We ain't got no special way how we gonna do things. Ain't no setup. We just doing it, and it's raw and uncut and real. You know what I'm saying? So expect the good, the bad, the ugly. We gonna laugh. We gonna cry together. We gonna hug. We gonna whatever we want to do. That's what we doing. This is not a podcast that ain't set up in any kind of way or whatever. We just rocking and rolling, and we gonna do our own thing, and that's how we gonna go. So Jay the Great here, baby. What's up?
Was good. He just introduced me. Johntay Cook the second. Wide receiver at Syracuse now. And yeah, I'm here.
We here to get the exclusive interview. First time speaking since transfers and this and that. But we're gonna get into that later. Right now we're gonna talk about DeSoto High School and what you did at DeSoto High School, and how was that experience at DeSoto High School? How was it, being a part of the championship team?
DeSoto was fun. It was more fun than anything. Just being around a bunch of guys that, you just grew up with since you were young, and, finally getting able to be the guys, you know what I'm saying, and just have fun, bro, playing football, working hard, blood, sweat, and tears with each other every day, just really grinding with each other every day, and it was more fun than anything, it was hard days, it was easy days, it was fun days, it was not so fun days, but, ultimately looking back, it was just more fun than anything because, it's a lot more freedom in high school than it is obviously on the next level. So I just say, just appreciative of the fun and the camaraderie that we had and just everything about it.
Right. You want to give a shout out to any coaches from DeSoto?
Shout out to all of them, but specifically I had to say my receiver coach, Coach Sweeney. My receiver coach I had my junior year, Coach Colton, Coach Mathis, obviously, Coach Chuck. Really all of them, Coach Babino, they all played a pivotal role in, my success and my development as a player on and, off the field, just the little gems that they would give me here and there, just all of the coaches, really, they all played their own specific role in, my development as not only a player but as a human being.
Right. So I believe you still hold the record at DeSoto for the longest touchdown.
Yeah, it's probably some truth in that,
I ain't seen it. I ain't seen nobody break it yet. So,
it's probably some truth in that, definitely. And, it's...
How was that feeling? 99 yards to the end zone.
In the moment, I would say it was more like a regular touchdown, but, after you get home and you realize, you see it on video, you just dang, that really was a long touchdown. But in the moment, it was just like any other touchdown. I was in the flow of the game and just trying to make a play for my team, honestly.
Right. Hey, well, we gonna say the record still stands, and we don't want nobody to break it. How's it been? Was it been a 5-star receiver, All-American, out of the DeSoto, Dallas, Texas area? How was that How did that feel?
I think looking back, it was definitely a great feeling, but it came with a lot of responsibilities, and it came with a lot of expectations, and it has its goods and bads, more goods than bads, but it's just ultimately like, in my opinion, it's just like you earn what you get, and you earn what you keep as well. So it's like, if you show 5-star abilities, then you're a 5-star guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Right.
that's just ultimately what it is. It's like, but looking back now, it's like all of that really doesn't matter when you get to the next level, because at the end of the day, it's people that's never really even put on football pads, telling you how good you are. So it's like, it's kind of just like a popularity contest looking back. But for the most part, the 5-star guys are definitely, they're pretty good, and I believe that I am, one of the best football players in the country, and you know thank God I got another opportunity to go prove it.
Right. So graduating from DeSoto High School, that's a big accomplishment. I heard you was a 4.0 GPA student as well, so you weren't just a athlete, you was a student athlete.
Yeah.
How about you talk about being a student athlete as well as for the kids that's out there, how important is you being studious and getting your grades?
I definitely think, just go to class. That's the first thing. A lot of people, a lot of kids don't like to go to class just because like the attention span is not there. But I just say go to class and try to just learn what you can, because school is for the most part easy if you just sit in there and you just retain what they're trying to teach you,
Yeah.
and you just retain what they
Regurgitate.
taught you, and then
Yeah.
you just put pen to paper, and it's fairly easy. But my mom definitely plays a big part in my academic success, just because like from a young age, she always taught me that one day your legs are going one day your legs are gonna stop moving as fast. You're not gonna be able to run as fast. You're not gonna be able to jump as high, or you're not gonna be able to do it at all. So it's
Right.
like, the one thing that you will ultimately always have is your brain. So it's like, have your brain as strong as your body. Because one day your brain will be all that you have, and you'll have to rely on that in the end.
Man, that was you was preaching on that one. Have your brain as strong as your body. That could be on a T-shirt. So after DeSoto, we signed with one of the biggest college in the country, Texas University. Let's talk about your transition from high school to college, going into Texas. How was that?
Well, at first, it was all just a dream come true. You know, every little boy that plays football in Texas dreams of going to play for the Longhorns, and I think I just fulfilled one of my dreams ultimately at first, until you actually get there and you realize that it's more than just a dream. It's more than just Saturdays. It's a lot of hard days that go into building up into the Saturdays. So I mean, the transition was definitely, I'd say, for the simple fact that I had been prepared from DeSoto, and I was already used to working hard. From that aspect, it wasn't that shell shocking to me as it may have been to somebody else. But for the most part, I'd say the transition was a smooth transition. Being on my own was a little different at first, until I just kind of got used to it and just got into my own routine, and just started living. But I mean, at first it was definitely a great experience.
Right, great experience, dream come true. You said something about a routine. So if I'm talking to a kid that's getting ready to go off to college, to a school, any school, if you grasp a routine into certain things, it'd be an easier transition for you. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, they're kind of gonna make the routine for you. It's just about if you follow it how you're supposed to. You
Right.
know, one thing I think that the University of Texas did well was just kind of lay everything in front of you, and basically all you had to do was go do it. You know, it's
It's pretty much mapped out.
pretty much mapped out for you. So it's like you just go do it. You put in the work. You go to class. You go to study hall. You know what I'm saying, and you'll be good.
Right. So everybody obviously want to know. America want to know if you can get into it. You don't have to go deep into it, but if you get into it, however you feel, elaborate on the things that transpired at Texas to where you was there and then you had to leave.
Well, I mean, the PG version of it is basically just it wasn't a. It started to not become a good fit. Actually, when I first was moving in, the receiver coach that recruited me, he took another job somewhere else. So off jump, I was already shorthanded when it came to the position coach that recruited me. Because I mean, in college sports, college football specifically, you're with your position coach most of the time.
Right.
So I feel like my freshman year, just having somebody that didn't recruit me, somebody that didn't really, know who I was as a person, really didn't understand who I was as a person. Right. It was kind of difficult for us to kind of gel. But I mean, I think our relationship, we had a pretty decent relationship as time went on. But I think just for that simple fact that, I was already at a default when it came to that was one of my biggest problems. And then, sometimes I felt like I was my own biggest enemy, because I was in my head a lot about a lot of stuff. Sometimes you feel like you're practicing well, you're making all the plays that you can that comes your way, and you get no results on Saturdays, and it's like to a good player that takes a toll on you, mentally, and you find yourself getting a little out of character a little bit,
right.
just because you're emotionally distressed about, your current situation.
Right, different things that's going
So
on.
I think just ultimately it came down to me being unhappy with the situation and, coaches just deciding what they want to do about the situation, and whatever ultimately the head coach has the final say so whatever the head coach decision is, that's the decision that'll be made. So I mean, that's just how that happened.
Right. So because a lot of people have different thoughts and making up different things that went on that transpired. So we cleared that air up. That is basically, and I didn't even know that part about your position coach leaving and that recruited you, and that's big. And being recruited, you want to play for the guy that recruited you, that know you well, and then you end up having to go into switching different coaches and then starting a whole new relationship and building a whole new relationship.
Yeah, and then my freshman year, they actually brought in a very talented older guy, Adonai Mitchell. He's probably the best receiver I've ever been on a team with. And as a freshman, being a 5-star recruit, being told that you're gonna come in and play right away, you have an opportunity to start and all of this, and then they bring this, big time guy in. It's like all of that kind of goes away, because it's like realistically, it's like freshman Johntay wasn't better than junior AD, so it's like just had to be real with myself, and then that kind of just this is what it is. It's
So
the
it was
business side
a lot of deceitfulness, a lot of
yeah,
lies.
you just gotta. I just had to understand the business of it. That's all it was. I really just had to understand that football in today's age is
it's not just regular football, sandlot football. No
yeah,
more.
it's just the same amount of business as it is X and O's. So it's like just understanding that and realizing that you're essentially at a job every day. You just gotta conduct yourself accordingly.
Right. So kids that's coming out of high school going into any college should know that it's not about just football. It's a business as well, and certain things in certain parts it may not work out in your favor, but that's not the be all say all. But at the same time, you got to be ready for
You got to
different
be ready for anything, bro.
that part.
You have to be ready for literally anything. Like,
You never know what's gonna happen.
yeah, you never know what's gonna happen. I've seen some of the craziest, most unimaginable things happen, you know, in my past 2 years of being a college football player. And, you know, sometimes I've been on the high end and most times I've been on the low end. And just like, you just gotta take it for what it is and just keep pushing, bro.
Keep pushing. So after all that, we at Texas. We go through camp and all this here, and we thinking we the guy. We not the guy. We go through a little transition there. So, you know, we shook hands and parted ways at Texas. You want to elaborate on how that transpired, how, you know, it go from a good thing and then all of a sudden it's not that anymore and we have to leave?
Well, I think it was kind of just like a build up of a lot of stuff. You know, it's a lot of stuff that I won't speak on that went into the ultimate decision of me parting ways with him. You know, just more so a lot of stuff off the field than on the field. You know, that was a lot of time out of my control. You know, and that was the most that was probably the most disheartening thing about it to me. It was a lot of stuff that was out of my control and that really didn't have anything to do with me at all.
Right.
But I mean, like I said, it's a business and you just gotta take it for what it is and, you know, just keep
And
pushing,
roll,
bro.
keep
So it's
pushing
like,
with
yeah,
it.
so
Yeah.
it's like ultimately, like I said, I may have had some moments where I got out of character and, you know, I did some things that I wish I didn't, or necessarily said some things that I wish I
right.
didn't, you know, but
when the person's upset or certain things not going like they think or perhaps it should go, sometimes that happens. Sometimes, you know, we say things or we get out of character because we feel like some things should go this way and it's not going that way. So, I mean, we can't be mad at that, you know?
yeah, and it's like at the end of the day, just as fast as they got you, they'll go get somebody else. So it's like you just gotta know that and just go where you love, bro. Like for anybody, any kid that's, you know, picking between schools, bro, you gotta be able to see between the fluff and the you know, the glitz and the glamours, because everybody got bells and whistles. Everybody got great facilities. Everybody has, you know, Nike, Adidas, no matter what the brand is, no matter what the name of the school is, the logo. You have to go where you're going to be put in the best position to succeed for yourself. Because ultimately, the end goal is not college. At least my end goal is not college. The end goal is the NFL. So it's like you have to put yourself in the best position to get to the NFL, you know. And at the time, I was under the impression that Texas was that place. But not understanding the business side and, you know, the everything that goes into it, you know, just I got caught up a little bit, you know. But big shout out to Arch Manning, bro, because Arch Manning played a big role in why I went to Texas. And
Big shout out to Arch Manning.
Outside of any coach, any logo, any, you know, anything, my whole entire mantra was I wanted to catch touchdowns from Arch Manning, bro. So ultimately, that's why I went to Texas, and, you know, that's why I was there, because that was my guy, great quarterback, and I knew I would.
And we got the chance to do that.
Yeah, you know what I'm
So
saying?
we accomplished that dream
Yeah.
and that goal.
You know, I had the chance to do that, but I mean, I definitely feel like this year would have been the year that it would have took off. But you know, it is what it is, and like I said, bro, you just gotta.
Everybody got their own path.
Everybody has their own path,
Right.
so just keep going and keep pushing, bro.
Keep going and keep pushing. So we leave Texas. That's over with. We transitioning. You know, the social media world going crazy. ESPN going crazy. The news going crazy. They can't believe it that this is happening. They don't understand what's going on, but that's what happened. That's what went on. And then we get we jump in the portal. We say, hey, we gonna go to Washington.
Hmm.
So
Well,
we go to Washington and we took that visit. So how was that?
I mean, Washington was definitely different. You know, different than a whole lot different than Texas. You know, but I think the thing that really attracted me to Washington was just the head coach and his history, and you know, just the straightforward plan he had for me. I think that's what ultimately attracted me to Washington, and ultimately why I decided to, you know, commit there and you know try to go there. But the city of Seattle had different plans. You know,
Right.
I don't think you know a lot of people have speculations about what happened with Washington, and it actually didn't have anything to do with the football program or the school even at all. It was just a incident that happened in the city of Seattle that you know I kind of just
Didn't feel comfortable.
no, it wasn't even that I didn't feel comfortable. It was just like something completely out of the ordinary just you know happened, and somehow it became my fault. And you know once you get that stigma that it's your fault, you know it's over with. And then once social media gets a hold of it, it's definitely
It's
over
definitely
with.
over
So
with. So
I mean,
social media can be your friend and your enemy all at the same time.
yeah, I mean it's all about how you
Go ahead, I'm listening.
it's all about how you use it, you know what I'm saying, and just about how the people feel about you.
Right,
You know,
right,
ultimately that's what it is, and that's just what it was.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so with that, the Washington thing didn't work out. Uh, we get back in the lab. Like they say, we get back in the lab with the pen and the pad, and we move on from that. We go back to training, go back to square one. Uh, how you feel about leaving there? How did that make you feel when that situation didn't work out? Because I know you probably was excited to move on to the next school and start back working, and then that was a mishap, and then that didn't work out like we planned.
To be honest, I was discouraged. I can't lie. I was definitely discouraged, and you know, I had thoughts that maybe I needed to find something else to do. You know, maybe that was God's way of telling me that you know this football thing wasn't necessarily for me, because it was just like one thing after another and then one thing after another, and it's like all I want to do is play ball.
Right.
So for a little while, I was definitely discouraged, and kind of was in a lost place. You know, just trying to really figure out like what was going on, and you know necessarily why all these things was happening to me. But you know, I just ultimately had to keep faith and just keep working, because I believe in my talent. You know, I know what I can do when it comes to playing the receiver position, and I couldn't just give up on myself that easy. You know what I'm saying? Just because like I had a few bumps in the road, so I just kept working. I knew that it would be another portal window, And I had coaches that was, trying to figure out what happened at Washington and, trying to see like would I be interested in coming to their school. So just the interest of knowing that coaches still wanted me to come play for them, that was definitely the slightest motivation that I had just to keep going and to keep working out. And you know, portal opens up and I get, a decent amount of phone calls and from some nice schools. Ultimately,
We want to talk about any of the schools that reached out to you.
I mean, I had like Arizona State, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, BYU, Utah, and then Syracuse.
So basically, all this here going on, all this different chatter we hear on social media, different outputs, different athletes, different podcasts, different news stations. They saying that nobody's gonna touch you, and different things like that. But at the end of the day, behind closed doors, all these big schools were still hitting you up.
Yeah,
So it's like just because one thing don't work out, or one situation or two situations don't work out, never give up, never quit.
yeah. I definitely say never quit on yourself. It's not even about giving up or never quitting. It's like never quit on yourself because it's like if nobody believes in you, you have to believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, like who's gonna believe in you? And I think that was just my biggest thing, waking up every day and just continuing to believe in myself, and
There it is. So now we committed to Syracuse.
yeah.
How we get there?
I think it's just, the head coach, honestly. And, obviously the offensive coordinator and, what they did last year. They threw the ball 50 times a game. They had 5 different receivers with 50 plus catches,
Wow.
And, I really like the head coach, bro. And he believes in me, All of the other schools kind of believed in my talent, if I could say that.
Right.
Right. They knew that I was a talented player, but it was always a question mark about all of the stuff that has transpired.
It's transpired before that.
Yeah.
So they were more focused on that. Then.
Yeah, and it was almost like, am I gonna get a fair chance here, or is it just like you just trying to? I really was unsure about all of the other
Right.
places because it wasn't
And
like
then they could be using that for clicks and likes.
exactly. So it's like, am I putting myself in the best situation possible, or is it just do I just want to choose a great logo? You know, um, but ultimately, Coach Fran, he just connected with me on a different level, and he shot it to me straight. He lost his number 1 receiver to the portal, and he needed a true number 1 receiver to come replace that guy, and everything I wanted was right in front of me, and I had to ultimately, make that decision.
So that's where we at. We at Syracuse. That's what we doing.
Yeah,
We rocking and rolling.
for sure.
So we getting ready to go to Syracuse. We leave. When we leave?
I leave on 19th, actually.
19th. We headed upstate, New York.
Mm-hmm.
So we back on the camera. We back at it again. What it say? The dead has arisen. It is time. Put your cleats on. All the cameras come out. It's go time.
I wouldn't necessarily say the dead has arisen because I really don't consider myself,
They gave up on you. We just
Nah.
talking about we ain't gave up on you, but the social media and the world, they really kind of wrote you off and put you to the side.
Yeah, they definitely wrote me off. A lot of people wrote me off, actually. And, it's going to be a lot of people that try to, once I start scoring touchdowns in the fall, they're going to try to come back. And
They're
it's
gonna
like,
be back on the bandwagon.
I mean, And
we gonna accept y'all back with open arms.
yeah, like I mean, yeah, we definitely gonna accept you back with open arms, but it's just like I'll always, have that chip on my shoulder and that receipts about everything I seen, everything I heard. So
We got the receipts on what you said, and we gonna come to you when you come to us talking about. We gonna pull up the receipts and say you said that this one gonna happen. Guess what? It doesn't happen. You said nobody gonna sign me. You said that, and it's already done. It's already done. We already done did it. We got the receipts, baby. We keeping the receipts. And we gonna save all the receipts and we gonna tell you about it. We gonna tell you about what you said too. I heard you. I seen it too. We gonna tell you about it.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, man, for the young guys, you got so many people that look up to you, so many people that's following you all around the country. Anything you want to say to the young guys that's coming up behind you about going through different adversities and different things that you're going to face going into that next level, especially as a 5-star recruit of whatever school you went to in high school and to going to that next level? In college on the collegiate level, what's the information that you can give to them to help them, to try to get their mind, because that's basically what we want to do. We want to try to help the young generation behind us that's following in our footsteps, because you got plenty of kids, man, that look up to you and follow you. You are already their superstar in their eyes. You already done made it in their eyes, and I see a lot of young guys, man, all across the country that look up to you and support you. Just can you just give any information to them about what they're gonna see and different things of that nature?
I mean, everybody's journey definitely gonna be different, so it's not one specific thing that I could say that they're gonna see. I could just say, just be prepared for anything and everything, and don't never take anything personal, because like I said, this game that we call football is just the same amount as a business as it is a game. A lot of people play the game because they love it. A lot of people play the game because it's fun. It's people that play the game because they make money off of it, and then there's people that do both. But for a lot of the people that's not playing, the coaches, the GMs, the owners, whoever's putting in, they're just looking at it from a money perspective. So it's like, you just gotta, in a sense, when you get to college, you have to grow up extremely fast. Gotta grow up extremely fast. You can't.
Fast.
Whatever habits you had in high school, you gotta change them. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta grow up. Yeah, you really just gotta grow up, and you just gotta understand, like, the situation you're in is, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity that you get to play the game that you either love, or you're playing just because you're good at it, or you're playing just because you're playing, to get an education. But either way, every day you wake up, you just gotta be thankful for the opportunity that you have and maximize every single second of that opportunity, because you don't ever know when it could be taken away. And no matter the level that you're at, Division I, Division II, JUCO, whatever it is, you got to know it's somebody somewhere wishing that they was in your shoes, So I say just maximize every second of the opportunity and get better at something every day. Don't work on what you're already good at. Work on what you're bad at. Because it's like, if you perfect what you're good at, then essentially you're getting worse at what you're bad at. So, but if you perfect what you're bad at, you're gonna equally be good at both things. That's, something that it took me a long time to understand. A lot of times I would perfect what I was already good at because it felt good,
Right.
and I didn't like messing up.
Right.
But I wasn't under the impression that it was like the least time that I work on this that I'm actually not as good at, I'm kind of getting worse because I don't ever put work into it. So when it's time to do it, it's not going to be as good as what I'm good at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And really, bro, you just got to be thankful. Just be thankful for the opportunity that's presented in front of you, and just never take it for granted. Never take it for granted. Just give it your all, bro. You really just got to give it your all, and do whatever's asked of you, whether you like it or not. Do whatever's asked for you. If they ask you to play special teams, then play special teams, because, the NFL is going to be looking at that. They ask you to return kicks, you know what I'm saying? And if you're the guy, then you're the guy. But a lot of pressure come with being the guy. So just make sure you're ready for that pressure. That's all I would say. Because it's two things my dad always taught me. Pressure either bust pipes or make diamonds. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you come out on the other end as a diamond.
Shine bright like a diamond. Hey, man. This not a podcast. We got the exclusive. You ain't got to go Google it no more. You ain't got to wonder about what happened. You don't have to ask this person, ask that person. You got it straight out the horse's mouth. Now eat that up and chew that up and take that just like that. Yes, Dad. Yeah, this is not a podcast, man. We appreciate you. We thank you for coming on. We know you have to do it. You're so busy. You got a lot going on, man. And I just want to appreciate you for stopping by and taking the time out to sit down with us and give your side of your story, your truth. And let's go take over the world, baby.
For sure.
Johntay Cook Jr., the great.
For sure.
Any shout outs?
Happy Mother's Day to my mom. Shout out to my mom. Beautiful. Tracy Cook.
Happy Mother's Day to my mom, Carol Cook.
Yeah. And to Nana, too. Nancy Wise.
Nancy
Shout
Wise.
out Nana.
Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, and Meemaw, too.
Meemaw, happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Any mothers out there, happy Mother's Day to you.
Yeah. Definitely. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
I got an Instagram, but it's not hard to find it. So if you want to go find it, you could just type in my name. You'll find it.
What's your name?
It's Johntay Cook, bro.
What's the Instagram? What's your @
It's Jay the Great, bro.
What's the TikTok?
The same. It's the same on all of them.
Jay the Great. Worldwide. Superstar. Coming to you. This is not a podcast. We're going to check back in with you next Sunday, 6 p.m. We're going to have another great guest. And we just going to keep this thing rolling, baby. We ain't got no instructions. We just doing whatever the hell we want to do. How about that? Yeah! And we out. This motherfucker.